Welcome in.
Jalen
Welcome in. Jay Hurts.
Oh, I'm just gonna interrupt you. I don't care. Fuck your intro.
You are excited.
Jalen Hurts.
That's a little rude, but I'm happy you're so enthusiastic about the Eagles quarterback.
Yeah, man. It's not. I mean, the Eagles didn't give anybody a lot to be excited about in their season last season.
No.
But I want to know from an Eagles fan, from one of the most diehard Eagles fans that I know, one of the most knowledgeable Eagles fans I know too. Shout out to you.
Appreciate it.
How do you feel about Jalen Hurts as a real life quarterback, but mostly as a fantasy quarterback in 2021?
He is it's a major question mark. Like, it is the biggest TBD I think I can think of as far as experiencing coming in with a new quarterback. He played 4 games. He wasn't great, and a lot of people are holding that against him, but he was a rookie on a bad team, on a team that had pretty much, like, for the most part, the season was well over by the time Hurts started playing. So, I mean, there were a lot of things, I think, working against him to end the season. So, I don't know if this is, I have no idea what he's going to be. Right? I mean, here are the things that are in his favor. Comes from big college programs. Played at Alabama. I know he lost his job to Tua, but it's not, college is different. These type of things happen. But he still ended up latching on with Oklahoma, and he took that team to the college playoff. So Hurts was the quarterback for an Alabama team, got them to the national championship game, and then he also took Oklahoma to the college football playoff. So he's coming from big programs, playing in huge games. So I know he's not going to be scared of the moment. It's just the body of work isn't there yet. It's a major we'll see. For fantasy purposes, he's going to eat. He's a top 10 quarterback this year.
Top 10?
Oh, easy. He's a top 10 quarterback this year for fantasy purposes. I feel like I was pretty reserved as far as any type of expectations for him as an NFL quarterback. I'm giving I gave him the benefit of the doubt, given the situation that he was stepping into as a rookie last year. I think for fantasy, he's top 10. I think he finishes around QB7, QB8.
Okay. That's lofty.
It is lofty, but it's also realistic. I mean,
okay. I know it's a young guy with the rushing floor.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Especially on a team that's not expected to be good. Generally speaking, quarterbacks that end up in the top 10, this doesn't always happen, but a lot of times, quarterbacks that finish in the top 10 are often rookies or younger quarterbacks who are having to kind of go above and beyond just to keep their team in a game because the team itself is not very good yet. That's going to be the situation with the Eagles. Hurts is going to have to be running around. I mean, not just as as a strength to his game, but if the wide receivers can't get open, if it's still a similar group of wide receivers and pass catchers in general that just aren't that good, yeah, Hurts is going to have to do more.
But what about Flacco?
See, that's... No.
All right,
I was going to say... See,
so how does the trade that just occurred with the Eagles draft picks affect their ability or their disinterest in getting a quarterback in the draft?
Yeah. So obviously that, you can absolutely look at that move as a vote of confidence for Hurts, or at least we're going to see what happens this season, right? Because the Joe Flacco signing, I don't care how badly Hurts plays. See, these first of all of these signs line up to Hurts is going to play 16 games. He's going to start 16 games. I don't care how bad he is. Joe Flacco is not going to get in there unless it's out of necessity. It's going to have nothing to do with performance. So I think Hurts is going to have a pretty long leash between the Flacco signing and trading down. And like you said, out of what would appear to be the running for one of the top quarterback prospects. So this is all good news for Hurts as far as this season. If he's bad, the Eagles will have to worry about that in the draft next season. But for this year, he's the guy. Like, there's no doubt. All doubt was erased with that move. Because at 12, all of the mocks now say they may take Jalen Waddle. Some of them say Devontae Smith could fall that far. I'm not sure I buy that. There's or J.C. Horn, the cornerback from, I think he played at South Carolina. So they should get a pretty good prospect, but by the time they get to 12, we already know Trevor Lawrence is going 1. We already know Zach Wilson's going 2. We already know some quarterback is going 3 to the 49ers.
Right.
And there's a decent chance the Falcons take a quarterback. And then even if they don't, there's multiple teams still in the top 10 that could take a quarterback, including Carolina. So I think Hurts is going to have an exceptionally long leash this year for the Eagles. And I think, a rookie that's taken at the 12th pick, as exciting or enticing as he was in college, is still going to be a rookie, and he's not going to have... I guess Dallas Goedert could be a top 10 tight end, especially if the Eagles eventually move on from Zach Ertz. But this pass-catching group is just not that impressive top to bottom. So Hurts is going to have to do more. And that means with his legs. I think a QB7, QB8 finish is coming up.
Okay.
Will that translate to he's going to keep his job beyond this year? That remains to be seen. But for fantasy purposes, you're not worried about whether or not Jalen Hurts is winning games or actually playing well. You just need him to put up numbers, and he's going to run. That's a part of his game. It's what he's capable of doing, and it's what quarterbacks are pretty much, as far as I'm concerned. If you can run even a little bit, you're going to be encouraged to do so. Like, that's a dynamic of offenses now that is... It's practiced. It's part of the game plan now. So, yeah,
right. But what's to stop him from being a young Tyrod Taylor, and where he really only caps out at being the quarterback 12?
I think Hurts
at his best. I
think Hurts is a better runner. I think Hurts is a better runner than Tyrod.
Okay.
I just think he's a stronger runner. Now, Tyrod had an arm. I feel like Tyrod has a bit of a reputation as a check down guy, but he can chuck it deep. But we saw Hurts, it's not like the biggest cannon in the NFL, but we saw Week 16 last year. He uncorked one to Deshaun Jackson. It went 50 yards. It was like a 70-yard touchdown. So he doesn't have a noodle arm.
Okay. Well, all right. So you say he's going to be QB8, QB7.
I'm stamping my claim.
Who are the 6 to 7 quarterbacks that you would take above him? So I can fight you on some of the ones you're missing out on. Because I don't think he's a shoo-in to be top 8. That's crazy.
I do. I am planting my flag on this hill.
Okay.
And he could be on another team.
Because we're gonna fight. We're gonna duke it out.
We're gonna.
So who are your quarterbacks that you would put ahead of him?
Okay. Well, Mahomes, 1. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert. Was that 5?
Yeah.
Am I missing one? Trying to think. Who else is a runner? Kyler Murray.
6.
Russell Wilson. I'll stay Russ. Although I'll tell you what, if if Pete Carroll keeps being Pete Carroll, it's not going to be Russell Wilson's fault that I feel like that's a little too high on Russ. But man, I'm worried about this offense, and I'm worried that Russ is going to be, limited once again. Yeah, today for now, I'll put Russ over him, but I think that's it. Those are the guys.
Really?
So I said Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert.
Now, I know if Deshaun Watson wasn't going
Russell
through what he's
Wilson.
going through right now, he would probably be in that list as well. But why isn't a guy like Aaron Rodgers in that list when he won MVP last season and nothing about his offense is changing?
I mean, you're just bound to have some regression. That's just regression is very likely for a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers who has actually been for this past year. He was stellar. He was the MVP. Duh. He was phenomenal. He actually also bucked a bit of a trend as far as the analytics are concerned. For the past 4 years, Rodgers was statistically not at the level that we were accustomed to seeing from Aaron Rodgers. So this year, while it was awesome to see a return to form for him, I'm not sure that in your age 38 season that another season like that is sustainable. Some regression is bound to happen. There's no doubt. I would put him in the top 10, I think, right now. But he's also, and I know Rodgers can run, but he's also less of a runner. He'll support a wide receiver one, a top 3 wide receiver one in Devontae Adams. He'll do that, no problem. If there's no turnover at the tight end position, Robert Tonyan should be a top 10 tight end. He can support multiple wide receiver one weapons. It's just a question is, will Rodgers himself be a QB1? And I would say right now, maybe he's more on the lower end of my QB1 list, maybe in that 9 to 10, 11, 12 range.
All right. Well,
that's built-in regression.
I'm going to spit out a few other people who should be in the mix for, I feel, the same spot that Hurts is in, which makes me believe that he's more like QB10, QB12, not QB8. That's crazy. But here are a few of these guys. Matt Stafford playing with Sean McVay in an offense that now has a ready-made running back, one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. And they now have Deshaun Jackson to at least fill out the Brandon Cooks role in that offense to just have the role of the guy who's going to fly down the field and catch 50-yard bombs, just like he did with Jalen Hurts last year. Exactly.
One ball for 80 yards and a touchdown, and then he'll be out for the season.
They just need the threat of a guy that's going to go all the way down the field and catch a long bomb. That's it. And they filled that role because they didn't have anybody in that offense. All I'm saying is Matt Stafford should be in contention for edging out Jalen Hurts. Another guy, Joe Burrow, they're putting more around him. And in the draft, they're either going to go O-line, which is going to help him, or get another offensive weapon, which is going to help him. I know you have shares of Joe Burrow. I know you're a fan of his. I would think
Joey Backdoor.
That Joey Burrow. What did you call him?
Joey Backdoor. There were multiple times. There were multiple times last year where, at the end of the game, Joe Burrow ruined the spread. He fucked up the spread for bettors by getting a late touchdown. So the nickname Joey Backdoor was born.
Okay, well, he's another one.
I had to tell that story.
He's another one in there. And that's why I would say he didn't, and that Jalen Hurts, nothing against the guy. They still need to go out and get a wide receiver, another offensive weapon in there, and then that offensive weapon has to prove out to be a good investment. They haven't been able to make that jump so far with investing in a good young offensive weapon that they can just plug and play, jump into the league like Justin Jefferson. They haven't had that guy. You thought it was going to be Rager, that wasn't. Now you kind of thought maybe they were going to have a shot at Kyle Pitts. It doesn't look like they're going to have a shot at Kyle Pitts. So
that's dead.
Right?
That's dead.
So I'm just looking at a couple of these other quarterbacks, and I think they are primed to be in better offenses. regardless of the fact that this guy can run, some of these other guys are mobile, or they're just pocket passers and they're playing with the best offense and the best coaching staff that they've ever had. And a guy like Matt Stafford, you could even make a case for a guy like Tua Tagovailoa making that second-year jump coming off of that injury season and opening it up downfield with having
he
Will
needs
Fuller
to do that
there
first
and all that stuff. So you could even make a case for putting Tua
all that stuff
against Hurts. You could.
All that stuff, Tua.
You could.
I mean, he needs to prove that he can uncork it.
I think you're way too high at quarterback 8.
I think you're not high enough.
I think that's a hot take.
I think you're not high enough. See,
I think that's the first hot take of the year from you.
Sure, we could call it that. And I'm gonna plant my flag on that. Here's why.
Look at you, Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, one small
Planting
step.
Flag. Yeah, there you go.
One small step.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have already talked about how much we love the move for Matthew Stafford to go to the Rams. We have previously talked about that. I think Stafford is right below him. Like, I would put Stafford over Aaron Rodgers. I would put Stafford over Joe Burrow. But he doesn't run. I know he's a good quarterback. I know he is a cerebral quarterback. He is a pocket passer, and I think a lot of people are expecting that Rams offense to go this year. And I hope they do. It should be a lot of fun, or could be. But Stafford doesn't run. That's the thing. I mean, he will. He's, like you said, he's mobile, but that's not a part of his game. That's not like a core
right. No, I was more talking about Joe Burrow in that aspect. I was not talking about Stafford at all. Stafford was who I was talking about when I was talking about playing in the best offense of his career and playing with the best coaching staff of his career. The guy that I was talking about being a mobile guy, and we saw it last year in stints, was Joe Burrow. He's a guy that can rip off a long run.
Yeah, he can, but here's the problem. He's coming off of major reconstructive surgery, and that injury happened kind of late in the season. So while I can only sit here and assume that he will be ready and will be the Bengals quarterback week 1, we can't definitively say today in April that that's going to happen. So, if you're worried about if fantasy points per game, which is probably a more important stat over just looking over the course of the season, for Burrow to have that top 8 finish, he's gonna have to play. And on top of that, if the Bengals pass on Penny, which by all accounts they could, apparently Joe Burrow is whispering into the ears of the Bengals brass to reunite him with Jamar Chase, which would be an unbelievable collection of wide receivers. It would also nuke the blossoming value of T. Higgins, but that's a separate conversation. If they pass on Penny, that offensive line is still going to be garbage. And I worry about that for Burrow because, yeah, he'll run, but
they've made
if he's not protected,
to that line, slight improvements. They've made slight improvements to that line.
From a bad line. It's still not a good line.
That offensive line, the crappiness of that offensive line is a little bit overstated if you go by the numbers. It's technically literally the 15th best O-line at protecting, at preventing pressures. 15.
Is this Pro Football Focus?
It's Twitter stats. Okay? Just throwing them out to you.
Okay.
Just regurgitating. That's it.
We love
in one
the
ear
tweeter.
out, right out of my mouth, whatever. That's it.
I'm gonna
feedback.
Whatever. I'm gonna check that. Anyway, yeah, I mean, if you're only making marginal improvements, the line still needs to get better. It still needs to improve. I mean, the Burrow injury proves that. So, will he be ready week 1? I sure hope so, but I don't know if he will be.
This is a Jalen Hurts show. This isn't a Joe Burrow show. I'm going to mention a few other quarterbacks here that I think.
My point was, I think Hurts finishes ahead of those guys because of those factors.
You're completely ignoring that the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck is coming into the league and
Yeah.
playing on an offense that has literally every offensive weapon cornered. And then once the Eagles are forced to cut Zach Ertz, they're going to swoop in with their still league leading cap space and snatch him up, and he's going to be their tight end of the future, or right now at least. I mean,
right now.
Trevor Lawrence could come in and absolutely be the quarterback 8.
Sure.
You look at a guy like Justin Fields, who they're mocking to go down to Kyle Shanahan in the 49ers. Literally any quarterback that goes down to the 49ers has a chance to light the world on fire with that offense.
If they run, which Fields does.
You got the best offensive mind in the NFL, the best personnel manager in the NFL, best whole offensive team in the NFL. And you're not even going to give my guy Derek Carr any love of the Las Vegas Raiders and their amazing offense. He could totally be the quarterback.
What the hell are you getting at? What the hell are you getting at right now?
I'm with you, bro.
Now you're just clowning. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yes. Look, all of the incoming rookies.
I think you're crazy. Give me more reasons why I should be thinking Hurts should be a shoo-in for the quarterback 8 over some of these other guys that I just mentioned.
I mean, in the 4 games that he played, he scored 108 fantasy points. So that's over 25 a game. What's that? 26, 27 fantasy points per game. It's pretty damn good. Small sample size, but Hurts is now going to have a normal offseason. He steps in as the starter, which means from day one, he's going to be practicing with the first team offense. So that plays to his favor. You could say the same about every quarterback, but that wasn't the case for Hurts last year in his rookie year. He was the backup. Now he's the guy. You would have to imagine you got let's just play this scenario right now and say they take Jalen Waddle, and maybe he's not the best wide receiver in the class, but he works out. So that's a slight improvement, and these guys played together at Alabama. So the offense has a chance to get a little bit better. The offensive line comes back healthy. Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, the whole right side of the offensive line Brooks missed the entire season. Lane Johnson went down like 4 or 5 games in. So the offensive line is getting healthy. You would think the skill position group as a whole has a chance to get a little bit better. Maybe not significantly better, but a little bit better. And in this, like I already mentioned, in the small sample size in 4 games last year, one of those including against the New Orleans Saints, who had a damn good defense that last year, he averaged about 26 fantasy points per game. Take it to the bank.
That's over like a 2-week stretch, right?
4 weeks. And in week 17, he was benched in the fourth quarter because the Eagles were tanking. And in that game, he wasn't very good.
When he came in, 10 points. Week 14, first full game, 19 points. Week 15, 37.8 points. Huge game. Great.
Woo.
Week 16, 20.6 points. Week 17, 17.3 points. I see a quarterback that peaked, and then his fantasy play, at least, went down 3 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, so he had a monster game. He had a blow up. He had a monster game. So there's his ceiling. Monster game,
but we're going off of a 4-game stretch for a quarterback that after his second start in that stretch declined every single week.
Well, I mean, he played a division game, and then he played a game where the Eagles played like crap, and they tanked the game away.
He only won one of those games.
Well,
that means something too.
Yeah, sure, but again, I think every move the Eagles have made over the past couple of weeks indicates that they're going to let Hurts run this season, and we'll see, and then they'll reassess once it's over. But I think the intangibles play in Hurts' favor. Again, I'm not saying he's going to finish the season as we're talking about him as the quarterback of the future for the Eagles. What I am saying is I think the environment, the situation, and his ability will lead to a top 10 fantasy finish.
I think you're wrong. We're not going to agree. But if
That's
you guys
fine.
agree out there in the YouTube verse, put it in the comments below. If you don't agree, if you're like me, put your thoughts in the comment section below. This has been the Face Mask Podcast. Thank you guys for listening.